time when the use of artificial intelligence has become contentious, with the prospects of AI use looking unpredictable, what remains significant is the need to prepare scientists to be ethical and responsible with their use and application of AI. In this pursuit, the timeliness of interrogating the role of responsible AI in promoting development agenda in the sub-region cannot be lost on us. The Responsible AI Lab, housed in the College of Engineering with its satellite labs at Université Alioune Diop de Bambey, Senegal, the University of Verde, and the Gambia Technical Training Institute, is therefore set up timeously and with strategic geolocation within the sub-region. It is to serve not only as a training hub to raise ethical and responsible AI scientists, but to also become the policy and industry-driven one-stop center for AI consultants. We as researchers at the College of Engineering are elated by the level at which our scientists are excelling by winning very competitive grants with innovative research teams. We are therefore encouraged that we are living the SDG goals on partnerships by reflecting how the engineering sciences have partnered the social sciences to solve human problems. In this light, the collaboration of researchers from the College of Engineering with those of the Department of Sociology and Social Work of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, KNUST, do not only present a positive and refreshing cross-disciplinary and transdisciplinary research trajectories. They, in addition, reiterate the global calls for inclusion, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary appraisal of technology application, AI use, and end-user perspective of how scientific innovation should work. Honorable Minister, Madam Vice Chancellor, the College of Engineering is grateful for the role the funders, the Idrc and the GIZ have played and continue to play in supporting this project. This is commendable and highly appreciated. On behalf of the College of Engineering and on my own behalf, I wish to congratulate the Scientific Director, Professor Jerry John Ponyo, the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and the entire project team leading this study. To you, the audience, I thank you for making time to attend either in person or online. I wish you well and wish the project much success. Honorable Minister, Madam Vice Chancellor, I thank you for the audience.
Thank you so much, Professor Samoa. Well, you must have heard the good news. If you have not, well, we are sitting on a very good news that I would love to share with you. The recent ranking of the impact ranking, there's a ranking called the impact ranking, and KNUST has been ranked the best in quality education in Africa and the 14th in the world. Thank you very much. And it's as a matter of such, that's why we are getting all of these accolades and steering the affairs of this great university. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me introduce the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, to give us the opening remark. A round of applause. Come on, she deserves it. She deserves it. A round of applause.
according to the 2022 Times Higher Education Rankings, has been adjudged, and I take my time to say this, the best on the continent of Africa. In terms of quality education, and the 14th best in the world. And we are talking about the world. Thank you very much. The theme for today's workshop, the role of responsible artificial intelligence in promoting the development agenda in the sub-region, could not indeed have been at a better time. This is a testament of our unique attribute as pace setters in the fields of pure and applied science, engineering, health and medicine, social sciences, business and arts, in Ghana and also beyond. Towards realizing the Sustainable Development Goals, we at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are providing the enabling research environment to our cherished scientists to lead in scientific discoveries, harness innovation, and foster scientific collaborations to achieve a world that is better than what we came to meet. Ladies and gentlemen, in this present technological age, a science and technology-driven university by the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology cannot be left out of the equation. A responsible AI lab is one of the several technology-driven scientific projects that researchers from KNUST are leading. And as Vice Chancellor, I am very proud about that, and I think they deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Artificial intelligence promises to make significant contributions to national development. The global market contribution of AI as of 2019, according to the Grand View Research, is about $39.9 billion. This figure is running into trillions of dollars. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, it has the potential of transforming most economies. Ghana and the sub-region cannot be left out of this positive outlook that the application of AI is projected to make on global development and national socio-economic transformation. In the case of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, through the Responsible AI Lab, with its partners at the Université Alioune Diop de Bombay, which is in Senegal, University of Quebec, the Gambian Technical Training Institute, has taken the lead to prepare the country and the sub-region to make a significant contribution towards the projected 42.2% growth in global AI market share from 2020 all the way to 2027. While AI applications have been projected to improve innovation enhance productivity, and facilitate development, it does not come without its attendant challenges that we all allude to. There is the constant intersection of AI application with different environments, contexts, societal, and structural arrangements, in addition to the ethical and legal ethos that are required to be overcome by all of us. Honorable Minister, again, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, through its REAL project, which we are launching today, has positioned itself to address these ethical issues, working closely with all stakeholders and collaborators. KNUST Trail Project provides a sustainable approach to nurturing local talent to engage in multidisciplinary, responsible AI for development, research, and innovation with a focus on women to be able to respond to capacity requirements of the public and private sectors. At the heart of this lab is inclusion, diversity, gender mainstreaming, innovation, and responsible use of technology and socio-ethical application of inventions. On this occasion of the KNUST Real Inception Workshop, the KNUST management with all our stakeholders are hopeful that by the end of the project cycle, this lab would have achieved the following. 1, deepen our understanding of how to develop and apply responsible AI tools for the advancement of computer, social, biomedical, agricultural, and ecological science. 2, strengthen national and international collaboration of public universities with the private sector. And 3, strengthen capacities in the responsible utilization of AI in support of most vulnerable communities in Ghana, Senegal, Cape Verde, the Gambia, and of course, the sub-region and the continent at large. Honorable Minister and distinguished guests, colleagues, the rationale and spirit guiding the Sustainable Development Goal 17 on building partnerships for sustainable development is more pronounced today. In today's workshop, we acknowledge the contribution of our funders, the GIZ, Idrc, and Csa, the Ministry of Communication and Digitization, as well as the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection. We do this largely in recognition that we are joining hands with the best university, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, in realizing the global goals, more specifically, Sustainable Development Goal 17 Target 6, which prioritizes knowledge sharing and cooperation for access to science, technology, and innovation. As I conclude, I would like, on behalf of the university management and on my own behalf, congratulate the Principal Investigator and Scientific Director, Professor Jerry John Ponyo, and his able team of researchers in the College of Engineering and other colleges, Senegal, Cape Verde, the Gambia, Canada, and of course, other partners from Germany for this great achievement. I wish you all very well and wish this very important project great success. I'm very grateful for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dixon. Well, if you just joined us, let's welcome you. It looks like the room is filling. We are very grateful for your presence. Well, this Inception workshop is on the theme, the role of responsible AI in promoting the Sustainable Development Agenda in the sub-region. And I can imagine we're all itching to know AI, artificial intelligence. Our knowledge sometimes can be very limited, but with the help of our principal investigator and all the other investigators who are working on this project, a lot has been done. So let's take an introduction to rail. Please help me welcome Professor Jerry John Ponyo to give us this very, very important introduction to artificial intelligence. A round of applause for Professor Ponyo.
Good afternoon. Permit me to stand on the already established protocol and provide an introduction to the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab. The fourth industrial revolution is an AI-powered revolution requiring the use of digital technologies to drive key aspects of the economy. As has already been mentioned by previous speakers, Africa, for that matter, the sub-region, must strategically position itself to lead the industrial revolution. It has been shown that there is a significant skills gap in digital technologies, requiring the academic institutions to position themselves to mount programs directed at training and building capacity in AI and related fields to drive economic revolution within the sub-region. AI, as a driver, has tremendous potential to transform economies like agriculture, health, energy, transportation, and other sectors of the economy. That notwithstanding, every activity must be looked at in an ethical lens to ensure that people's rights and privileges are not trampled upon as we seek to find solutions to the challenges within the sub-region. The Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab, which is jointly supported by Idrc and GIZ, has a focus on development of a long-term sustainable approach to nurturing local talent with a focus on women in technology that responds to capacity requirements of the public and private sector through the strengthening of multidisciplinary labs to work on responsible artificial intelligence for development over a 3-year period. The specific objectives of the lab, as already has been stated, include the following. First and foremost, we want to deepen our understanding with reference to the development and application of AI. Secondly, we want to, at the end of this collaboration, be able to strengthen relationships among public universities and the private sector, and by so doing, break the gap between academia and industry as far as the use of AI to solve the problems of the sub-region is concerned. The last but not the least, we want to be able to strengthen capacities in responsible utilization of AI in support of the most vulnerable communities in Ghana, Senegal, Cape Verde, Gambia, and other parts of the sub-region. We've talked about the Responsible AI Lab. Where is it going to be and how is it going to be set up? The Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab will be situated in the KNUST Engineering Education Project College of Engineering Postgraduate Building on what in the KNUST setup we call the Research Hill. So we will have the main hub in KNUST, and there are going to be satellite labs in Senegal, Cape Verde, and then a support lab in Germany. What is our network for action? The lab will leverage on its network within KNUST, within the nation, and our international networks to drive its impact projects which border on AI in agriculture, AI in healthcare, AI in energy, and issues that relate to the use of AI to respond to gender violence. The lab will collaborate with sister organizations like the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Network Africa, Fair Forward, the African Observatory on Responsible AI Project, which is led by Rachel Adams of the People's Republic of South Africa. RAIL will also train skilled personnel in AI through its postgraduate programs and short courses in machine learning and data sciences. What is our framework for success? At the end of the day, what is our measure that indeed we have succeeded in what we are setting out to do today? RAIL will focus on 3 pillars for success: research and development, capacity building, innovation, and commercialization of our research. And the reason I talk about commercialization is primarily for sustainability. It is hoped that through our activities, we can train domain experts in key areas of AI application. This will be realized through MSc and MPhil programs, PhD programs, short courses, internships, AI-based innovation challenges, and hackathons. Data, as we have already realized, is the blood through which AI runs. For this reason, RAIL will work towards generating Afrocentric data sets for development of AI solutions. Most of the data sets that we have are not generated within the sub-region, and so there are biases with reference to using them for solutions. We are going to be generating Afrocentric data sets with the hope that our solutions will be better than previously. The measure of success for RAIL will not be the number of solutions we have developed, but how these solutions have impacted on society. We therefore will ensure that the solutions are in a form which will be easy for the end user to take up. Appreciation and conclusion. It has been said, and this I believe to be true, that to whom much is given, much is expected. We recognize the strategic role that this lab is expected to play in the AI revolution within the sub-region and beyond. And our resolve is to work hard not to disappoint as far as this quest is concerned. I want to, on behalf of my team, thank our funders, Idrc, GIZ, and CEDA, for the opportunity that has been given to start this lab. I will also want to thank the Dean of the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Professor Abdul Rahman Ahmed, my own colleague, for the support so far. The project lead of the KNUST Engineering Education Project, Professor Kwabena Brichum Nyako, for graciously agreeing that the lab be situated within the postgraduate building. The provost of the College of Engineering for the immense support throughout this project. And ultimately, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, and the entire management of the university for the support. Shall we give our hands together for them, please? Gratitude also goes to our partners, UADB of Senegal, University of Cape Verde, ably represented by my brother Alindo, who is here. You are welcome to Ghana. FDR, who is joining online, and GTTI for the collaboration so far. Finally, thanks to all our development partners, the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, UNESCO, Ghana Digital Company Limited, the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Network Africa, the African Observatory on Responsible AI, and all our colleagues the world over for making time to be part of this Inception workshop. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Well, thank you so much, Professor J.J. Konyo, for that introduction to rail. Well, I think we have been acknowledging a few of our partners who are here with us. And if they are here with us, they must comment on the program or share with us a few of their observations as well. So I'm going to invite some of the partners of rail who are here. They would come here and make a few remarks. We're going to start with representatives of the IDRC. Can we see any rep from IDRC? Oh, we're going to join them online. So if you can turn our attention to the screen, we'll have their remarks online. Thank you so much.
responsible AI in the region is commendable.
Well, let's acknowledge them because they are with us online and they're watching this very program from where they are. Thank you so much to IDRC. We also have GIZ with us. Do we have any reps from GIZ? Thank you so much. A few remarks for us. A round of applause for him, sorry. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. The Vice Chancellor, Kwame Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols duly observed. I bring you greetings from GIZ, from our country director, the head of the Digital Transformation Center, and the head of Fair Forward Artificial Intelligence for all. It is indeed heartwarming to be with you this afternoon. I remember sometime last year, Professor Kwenyo contacted me that they were applying for some funding and they needed a letter of support from GIZ. And Professor Kwenyo has been a very good friend of our artificial intelligence project, Fair Forward. So we were happy and we gave Professor Kwenyo the support letter. Little did we know that the proposal will come back to us. So when IDRC contacted us to partner them in supporting KNUST with the Responsible AI Lab, we did not hesitate because we know the good work that Professor Kwenyo and KNUST is doing. For us at Fair Forward, our interest is in working towards open, sustainable, and inclusive approaches to AI. Therefore, responsible AI is very, very important to us. And at Fair Forward, we focus on building data sets so that organizations such as yours and then startups will concentrate on creating innovative solutions instead of spending money to collect data. And so we are very happy to support this collaboration with KNUST. I am here to assure you that you have our firm support. We hope that with the coming in place of real Fair Forward Artificial Intelligence for All and KNUST, and then the real setup with all the partners in Senegal and Cape Verde will work on solutions for AI in the energy and the climate sectors. I will also want to take this opportunity to announce to you gathered here that Fair Forward is an associate founder of the Lacuna Fund. And as I speak, the call for proposals for funding for creating data sets on climate change has been open. So I will encourage all of you to check it out on lacunafund.org. We'll be happy to see that KNUST will apply and hopefully also win. I will want to thank you once again for inviting us, and as we say at GIZ, Through real, let's work together to shape a future worth living. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And our warm regards to all our friends at the GIZ. We also have a representative of the University of Cape Verde. Can we have you here to give us a few remarks? Uni Cape Verde. Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope you're good. You're welcome to Ghana.
Good afternoon. I'm from Cape Verde. Cape Verde, many of you don't know where is Cape Verde. First of all, Vice Chancellor, I transmitted the compliments of my rector, Arlindo Barreto, and all protocol observed. And I'm glad to be here to see all these students. The University of Cape Verde was invited by Chair Coponio to join to this project, and we accept to participate in this as a partnership. And we propose the use of artificial intelligence to promote more human integration in model training. Many of you, when talk about artificial intelligence, may think about moves like Matrix, Terminator, something bad in the futures. But what we are here trying to do is to show it's possible to introduce a human component in artificial intelligence. In this case, is a responsible artificial intelligence, something to take care of gender, take care about local communities, to make application that you can use the artificial intelligence to solve problems of local communities. In case of Cape Verde, we propose to use artificial intelligence in healthcare and other fields, but in our case, in healthcare, and use our national language to train models to bring the information about healthcare to all the people that have some constraints. Use the official language is a Portuguese language. So this is the first step we wanted to do in this project, but we expect to have more collaboration with KNUST. This is the first project. I hope in the future we have a straight relationship and more for integration of our countries. To know, to everyone in Africa know the Cape Verde countries is important to us to participate in these international collaborationships. And maybe we can, so the lacuna found in the project, the previous one, the speakers announced, it's one opportunity that we can explore. Once again, thank you to Chair to invite us. And it's a pleasure to be here to know Ghana for the first time. It was a long journey, but I think it's good to have here.
Thank you so much, University of Cape Verde. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn our attention back to our screens. We have our friends from the FDR joining us via Zoom. So please, let's turn our attention back to the screens.
Salutations de la Fondation pour les données et la recherche Ghana.
My name is Edmund Doku, and I'm the CEO for FDR Ghana.
And I'm Anna Idrc, Managing Partner for FDR Ghana.
We are happy to be here at this Inception workshop and would like to show you a short presentation. We are FDR Ghana, and we're the gender and evaluation lead for the RAIL project, and we'll be working in partnership with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Université Alioune Diop de Bambey, University of Cape Verde, and the Gambia Technical Training Institute. So what is FDR Ghana? FDR Ghana is a research evaluation, data and knowledge management social enterprise. We have several locations in Ghana and globally, including Canada. We have staff, consultants, and project experience in Africa and around the world. We help organizations to achieve learning and development goals through a non-colonial lens. I would like to share with you an ongoing collaboration that we have with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This is the Csa Project. It started in 2018 and it's ongoing. Csa stands for Strengthening Engineering Ecosystems in Sub-Saharan Africa. For the Csa Project, we focused on applied research in engineering through a gender and intersectionality lens. We performed a gender and intersectionality baseline assessment for all Idrc-funded applied research projects across Africa. We worked with partners to gain an understanding of gender considerations in the STEM sector. We worked to identify barriers and strategies to promote women's leadership and career development in engineering. And we performed training in gender and evaluation. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you, Edmund. For the RAIL project, we have in scope gender and intersectionality assessment, as well as baselining, not only in Anglophone, but also in Francophone and Lusophone contexts, which it will give us a very interesting exposure and perspective. We will focus on institutional gender assessment and community gender assessment. We will also work around gender-sensitive data collection, analysis, and processing. We will develop a framework for feminist monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. And we will be working on preparing tools for gender assessment in AI4D RAIL projects. All of those things that I've just mentioned will be to achieve a larger United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Merci.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, FDR. We'd like to acknowledge all our other partners. Well, sorry about that. We'd like to acknowledge all our other partners as well. You know, artificial intelligence is all around us. We have the smartest phones now. We have TVs all around us. But there are others that we are not even aware of. We are going to invite our keynote speaker for the afternoon, who is going to speak on AI for everyday use. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's...
Hello. Okay, greetings to all. I'm happy to be here. So my name is Darlington Akogo. I'm the founder and CEO of Mino Health AI Labs and Kara Agro. Okay. So yes, to get started with, I would like to explain what AI is. Or to make it a bit more interactive, I'm going to task you. So put your hand up if you're familiar with what AI actually is. Don't worry, there are no marks. So Okay. So yes, the way I define artificial intelligence is that it's an attempt to give machines human-like intelligence, right? So what does that mean? As human beings, we exhibit a number of attributes that we term as intelligence. The fact that we can all sit here, have conversations, share ideas, are all signs of intelligence. But intelligence exists even beyond or outside the scope of human beings. So even if you look at something like malaria, mosquitoes. So I've had malaria a couple of days now, but so getting malaria from mosquitoes requires intelligence from mosquitoes. What do I mean by this? For mosquitoes to be able to identify that they have to feed on you, identify what a human looks like, avoid you killing them and all that, it requires a lot of intelligence. So even something as small as a mosquito possesses a lot of intelligence. So it can go from that to something more complicated like studying the universe, so astronomy, studying diseases and how to cure them. So a number of the things that are being done in KNUST and a number of institutions around the world. So all these attributes are facets of intelligence, and the whole goal of artificial intelligence is to take them and make machines capable of doing them too. Yeah, so I said this is an attempt. What that means is that there are different ideas as far as how we can achieve this. So these various ideas are generally termed as approaches to AI. And for our interest, I would talk about one of the key approaches. It's called machine learning. So another quiz again. Once again, no marks. How many people have heard the term machine learning? Okay, we are making progress. So machine learning, before I even go on, one interesting thing about AI is that the terms mean exactly what they sound like. So no offense to any person who does chemistry in here, but the terms in chemistry are very confusing. But in AI, they mean exactly what they sound like. Artificial intelligence, it means intelligence that is artificial. Machine learning means machines that are learning, right? We don't have time to waste, so we make it direct. So machine learning means exactly that. So once again, what is learning? So learning involves an intelligent system, one, being able to look around its environment to make deductions. Two, able to attain underlying principles from those deductions and then use those principles to solve new problems. So what would be an example? A simple example would be, let's say, staircase, right? So let's say I was a baby and I was trying to walk up this staircase and I fell down. I fell down from this staircase. Maybe I'm trying to walk on another staircase, I fall down. Eventually I realized that, okay, to move up staircase, I need to raise my leg and then move the other one and everything. I'm learning how to walk on staircase. Now, once I've gathered that information from staircase, how to climb them, if I meet a new staircase, I don't have to fall. This is my first time coming to this grade, so it would be really embarrassing if I was coming on this stage and I fell. And my excuse would be that I've never seen this staircase. So we are capable of learning because once you learn something, you can apply it in different fields. So that is the idea behind learning. So with machine learning, it's the same concept. You want to collect data, provide it to an AI system, so that the AI system will learn the underlying principles, and from that, they can solve new problems that they've never encountered. So this is different from just storing information and then producing them back. So if you look at computers already, you can store movies, videos. You now have storage devices that can store up to 5 terabytes and even 10 terabytes of data. And if you search, they can retrieve it. This is different. This is about learning underlying principles and solving new problems. Yes. So the way we do this in AI is we use statistics. So within statistics, there are different ideas that you can pick up to build what I've just described. In general sense, this is sometimes called pattern recognition. So you are recognizing pattern across a large pool of data. Okay, so what are some applications of AI machine learning? So one of the key areas that we work on is what is called precision agriculture. So with precision agriculture, the idea is that you take AI, you combine it with different technologies, and then you improve agriculture. The precision aspect of precision agriculture implies that currently when you are farming, what do? If you want to irrigate the crops, you pour water everywhere. If you want to add nutrients, you pour water everywhere. If you want to use pesticides, you might try to pour them at some places, but at the end of the day, you end up trying to extend it as far as possible. With precision agriculture, the goal is that with AI and the various other technologies, you treat each plant like an individual. You find out what that plant needs, and you provide it at the right time. So all the various plants might not need the same amount of nutrient, the same amount of water. So you identify it, and then you provide it accordingly. Yeah, so these are some of the practical things within that space that we work on. So this is under Kara Grow AI. We do disease and pest detection. We've built AI systems that can learn from data, or they've learned from data to be able to detect disease and pests. So we work with crops like maize, looking at fall armyworm. We work with cocoa, anthracnose, work across a number of crops, across a number of diseases and pests. Another application is also yield estimation. So if you are growing your field, by using AI, it's possible to identify, even before the time of harvest, how much you are going to harvest. You can identify and predict what is going to happen on the farm. Yes, so under Amino Health AI Labs, we also look at AI for healthcare. So these are another set of systems that we develop. We've built AI systems that diagnose diseases across infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. So all these diseases that are listed here in far more. Yeah, so the general idea, at least for this platform, is that you input a chest x-ray or a medical image into the system. And like I described earlier, because the AI system was built to learn what diseases look like from medical images, if you give it a new medical image from a new patient, it's able to identify that disease. Yeah, so now let's get to the fun part. One thing I want to do with this session is to convince you that you've already been using AI. So AI is new and there's so much potential, but you already use so many AI solutions, but you might just not be paying attention. So if you like social media like myself, you are probably using a lot of AI. If you go on any of the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, any of them, your news feed, how content is arranged is done specifically for you. That's why when you and another friend of yours all open your platforms together, you don't see the same content. So they use AI and machine learning to arrange the content targeted to you to keep you engaged. Now, if you look at TikTok, for example, if you wonder why you open TikTok and you can't close it, I remember I was once stuck on TikTok for hours, and to be honest, I had a lot of work that day, but I was stuck on it. That's AI at work. They study what keeps you engaged, and then they keep you hooked. So those are some uses of AI. So if you already use Facebook, TikTok, any social media platform, you're already using AI. But also they use AI to moderate content and flag. Yes, but they also use AI to moderate content and flag any inappropriate post. So for example, if you've had some post of yours pulled down or you've been banned from social media, sometimes it's not a human being, it's actually an AI system. So these are all uses of AI. Also streaming platforms. So from the music streaming platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, they are all using AI systems to recommend songs for you, to recommend content for you. So they study what kind of songs you like. Okay. They study what kind of songs you like, and based on that, they can recommend new songs for you. So again, if you are using any of these music streaming platforms, you're already using AI. But then also YouTube. If you are watching videos on YouTube, any platform that gives you content, and if you see yourself usually stuck on the various content on this platform, it's because there's an AI system behind the scene. The AI system is studying what you like and then recommending content to keep you engaged. Netflix does the same thing. Snapchat filters. I have some funny ones that I wanted to show you off my own. But yes, those filters that, you take it, you have the dog ears, and they've gotten out of hand. There's so many things you can do with them. The interesting thing is that those are very, very complicated, sophisticated technologies to build. There's so much working behind the scene, but those are also AI systems. So if you are using filters on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, these are all AI systems that you are using. And they are able to detect your face and change some components of it or overlay it with something. So you have advanced AI system. Interesting enough, some of these systems are also the same technologies that we use for identifying diseases. So the same technology can detect diseases or can do something as playful as this. Ride-sharing platforms. If you use Uber, Bolt, they use AI system to determine the price. That's why sometimes when there's traffic, it's raining, the prices shoot up. It's all an AI system that is looking at different metrics data to determine what the price should be. There's no human being anywhere that is manually calculating any of this. If it has to do with traffic, so before you leave, it will estimate that you might get to your destination in 40 minutes. But then if it's hot traffic hours, it might take 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes. This is all AI system. Even telling you that there's traffic on this route, so use this different route, there's also another set of AI solutions. So these are all various AI systems that you're already using as well. So with the navigation apps, it's also the same. Google Maps uses AI system to do basically what the ride-sharing apps also do. Yes, so this is another important application of AI, fraud detection in the banking sector. If you've ever had an incident where you get a message from your bank saying that there's unusual activity detected on your account and sometimes they halt your account, it's because there's an AI system that is studying the different activities on your account. Anything that is an anomaly, so anything that is different from usual behavior, the AI system picks it out, and usually that's a signal for fraud. So immediately the bank might halt all activities on the account until you come and prove that you were the one behind that activity. If not, that means that someone got illegal access to your account. So these are some serious applications of AI that you currently are using. Virtual assistant. So with Siri, Google Assistant, Cortana, Alexa, these are all AI systems. If you take your phone and say, hey, Siri, give me direction, or if it's Android and you say, okay, Google, or even the chat feature. So if you are chatting, asking questions, for some of the telcos in Ghana right now, even if you go to their website or you call them, they'll tell you that we have chat service that you can engage that will answer your questions. These are all applications of AI systems that are currently available and are in our everyday lives. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Darlington. That is AI around us all the time. Mr. Darlington Akolgo, thank you very much for the keynote speech, if I would say that way. We're going to have a few more remarks from our partners. Please help me to invite via Zoom UADB Senegal. So please let's take our attention back to our screens. They're going to join us via Zoom. That is UADB Senegal. All right, please send your attention back to me. Thank you very much, our friends from UADB Senegal. We also have reps from the Ghana Digital Company Limited here with us today. So can we get your remarks? A round of applause. Thank you very much for coming here in person to join us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to us all. My name is David Ofori, and I work for, it's actually Ghana Digital Centers Limited. Some of you will probably know it as Accra Digital Center. That's the Accra location, but then it's now going nationwide. And I'm here with my colleague, Mr. Edward Akins. He's our business development manager. I only run the operations. I'm more the chief messenger of the digital center. And it's refreshing that we are all talking about AI now. And I like the presentation by my good friend sitting next to me. That was very good. And that goes to show the world we are in now. I'm sure when he was going through a number of the illustrations, we were all wondering, oh, so I've been using AI all this while. Yes, you have. And when you hear people say, oh, me, I don't want my data out there. No, you can't hide. It's already out there. It's how best you make sure that you don't put the wrong things out there. We are in a generation where most of us, our very first interaction with a smart device is going straight into the AI world. And the internet doesn't forget. So we have to be mindful the things we put out there because they will stay. The other unfortunate thing with AI now is that you and I are just consumers. We are not part of the early adopters. And that's where we need to do better. Because if you tell Alexa, play me Ankwa Dobie, it will not be able to recognize that. And that is something that we need to think about it. Because we are consuming a service, but we're not on the deciding table when it started. So how do we get ourselves into that sphere? So that if you tell AI, I want to go to Zabzugu Tatale, would they be able to recognize the local dynamics of Zabzugu to Tatale and not give you something in San Francisco? And that is where we need to start thinking about. Because otherwise, we will just be consuming something that has been created and put on us, but we are not contributing to that environment. And that is where sometimes people like us, that's what we are striving for. So the Ghana Digital Centers Limited is a creation of Government of Ghana to say that Ghana is going tech and digital in a number of things. How do we promote, how do we influence, and how do we advocate in terms of policy, in terms of the right laws? Because sometimes you can come up with a very fantastic solution, but you lose the intellectual property right because you didn't have the right laws to govern you. We have a very famous African innovation. Does anybody know about M-Pesa? M-Pesa is a financial platform. As successful as it is, the IP is not owned by Kenyans. It is owned by Americans. Because at the time, the knowledge was not there, so they did not protect the intellectual property. So it's important that as we come up with our own solutions, even in the world of AI, we're able to have the right legal framework to protect what we are creating. Otherwise, tomorrow, it may not be yours. And I'm very happy that we're talking about AI in KNUST. I'm a product of KNUST, by the way. Yes. I was a math student, and I was in Queen's Hall. So once a royal, always a royal. So it's good to be back home. Yes, but and KNUST has always been at the forefront of some of these things, and I'm very happy that we are taking charge in this area too, because when you talk about business in America, you're talking about Harvard. When you talk about Silicon Valley, we're talking about Stanford. So if we're talking about technology and the disruptive innovations like AI and the others, it's good that we mention KNUST leading the charge for that. And I'm also very happy that we see a very good gender balance in the room where our ladies are taking interest in this area, because it's very, very important that we don't treat the disruptive technologies like we did with our traditional education. So I'm very happy to see what I'm seeing today. But back to the charge of us ensuring that even as young folks, as we decide to venture into these areas, mind you, whether we decide or not to go there, it is here to stay. So you have to make your mind up, because you always use smart devices. And again, even in the area of job creation, now work is what you do and not where you go to. The days where our fathers got a job with GTP and it's a job for life, 40 years, 50 years, they are there. They get up morning, go to GTP office, and then stay there, or go to GASEM. Those days are far behind us. Now work is what you do in your room and not where you go to. So we have to embrace that our kind of work as we grow will not be like our fathers and our grandfathers and our grandmothers had it before. So these are areas that present a lot of opportunities for us as youngsters, even as we're discussing this in this room. And there's even a more crazy world coming called the metaverse. The metaverse is coming. Whether we like it or not, it is coming. So that if your board invited you to a board meeting, you can send almost like an avatar of yourself to represent you in the boardroom, because you cannot make it physically. And these are things that are coming to change our world hugely. So please, let's listen to our speakers, because the world of metaverse was like when we were talking about internet in the 70s. People thought it was not possible. But now metaverse will come, And so you'll be called by the Vice Chancellor, and then you send your avatar to the Vice Chancellor's office that here I am. Yes, that's a new world. And there will be things like avatar uniforms. So you have to, the way the Vice Chancellor will identify you will be your specific avatar uniform. That is only unique to you. That will be your unique identifier. So these are things that are coming up even as we approach the 5th industrial generation. So please, let's listen to our speakers, and we're happy to add our voices to what is going on here. Like I said, I'm very happy that I'm seeing what I'm seeing here, and Prof. Ponyo is a very good friend. So, Prof, thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Rail would like for you to follow them on their socials so that every step they take, you'll be with them. Let me just go through some of their handles on social media. On Facebook, you can just search for RAILKNUST. So please follow them. So if anything new comes up from that lab, if they cook up anything new, you'd be the first to know. That's RAILKNUST. On Instagram, it's IARIL. That's rail_KNUST. RAIL_KNUST. On Twitter, it is at RAIL_KNUST, and on LinkedIn is Responsible AI Lab. So please follow Rail on all the socials, and you'll be updated with everything that happens in that lab. Well, I'm going to take a break for myself. I'm going to invite our moderator for the next session, that is our panel discussion, to join us. And please help me welcome Dr. Mrs. Rita Udo to help moderate the next session.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Rita Udo. I'm very excited this afternoon to be the moderator for this next session we are going to have. Without wasting my time, I'm going to invite my panel members to come on stage. So the first person I'm going to invite is Professor Jerry John Ponyo. Please, as they come, give them a hand of applause. The next person is Professor Francis Kumaso. Third, we have Mr. Darlington Akogo. We also have Dr. Henry Nunu Mensah. And then lastly, we are going to have Dr. Christopher Yao Appiah. Okay, so I'm going to join them as we have some discussions on AI and development. I think this is the part that we are interested in. We don't want AI to be something which is abstract. We want to see how we can use AI to develop our continent. So without wasting my time, I will join my panel members. Okay. So my first question goes to Dr. Nunu Mensah. Please, could you tell us?
Relax.
Okay. So Africa has a lot of challenges with the health sector, and we see AI as a technology that has come to help. Can you tell us how we can use AI to improve our healthcare system in Africa?
Okay, so thank you for the question. How we can use AI to help us in the area of health? I think Mr. Akogo presented on some radiology tools for diagnosis. So it's one way that we can do that. We also have pathology images, which we use for diagnostics. And there's one interesting area too, where we have the brain machine interface, right? So it helps disabled patients, people with stroke, log-in syndrome, other conditions, neural conditions, to be able to control their movements, these machines, right? So like your wheelchairs and all that, you can do that. Yes, and also we have so many medical devices around, right? So with AI, we introduce some form of intelligence in there where diagnosis is very precise and yeah, well-tailored for individuals. Yeah.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. You're talking about we using AI to do diagnosis. Does it mean that we are not going to have doctors again?
That's a very good one. In the health sector, right, AI is supposed to come and complement, right? So it's not taking away the doctors. We are in an environment where we have limited doctors, right? The doctor-patient ratio is very, very small. So these AI systems are coming in there to help eliminate those not so serious cases so that doctors can pay attention to very serious cases and attend to them. So it's not to take them out of the picture, but it's supposed to aid them take very good care of us as patients.
Thank you very much. My next question goes to Professor Kumaso. So please, can you tell us how AI can be used to improve on energy?
Yeah, thank you. Demand for energy, especially electricity, is growing in the sub-region. And currently we meet a lot of the demand from thermal plants, plants powered by fossil fuels. There are climate implications, and most people are advocating for renewable energy systems. These are systems that are more climate friendly, but then they are also not very predictable. They are variable energy sources that are quite difficult to manage when they are in the grid. So AI can support forecasting, for instance. The sun rises in the morning, but then it sets in the evening. At some point in the day, there are cloudy, cloudy periods. The wind would blow at some points, then at other points it's not there. You have rivers that flow. There are different flow rates, etc. These are issues that we can use AI to properly forecast. So if you can forecast sun radiation levels, we can forecast water levels, we can forecast airflow, sunshine hours, then it's easier for us to be able to manage renewable energy plants. So we are able to feed them into our energy grid so they can provide more climate-friendly energy sources for us to use.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Darlington, Africa is one of the continents that is faced with hunger and famine. Actually, a data from World Vision 2020 indicates that 27 million people in West Africa suffered hunger in 2020. How do you think we can use AI to transform food in Africa?
I think that falls within the space of precision agriculture. So if we want to change agriculture, we need to change how we even approach it, right? The goal is how can we increase yield? And so apart from the ones that I highlighted, one of the key things that we've realized is actually doing what is called high throughput phenotyping. So that is the point where you are working with plant breeders to create new breeds that are, let's say, 10 times or 20 times more efficient or have higher yields compared to the traditional one. So one of our partners, for example, that we work with, Waki, that we use drones to be able to study different variations of, let's say, corn or cowpea that they are working on. They currently have one variation of corn that produces 10 times more higher yield than the traditional one. So what that means is that if you have small-scale farmers, or if you have the farmers that produce the food that we consume, if they adopt these new hybrids that are being developed using the various technologies and science, then we can produce more and at a lower cost. At the end of the day, we are feeding and then addressing food insecurity, but we are also addressing income and then issues that have to do with inequality, especially when it comes to farmers, because the conditions within which small-scale farmers live is also quite abysmal and quite horrible. So yes, AI has that potential to address issues across the agro value chain and improve yield and address food insecurity.
Okay, I have another question. Studies have shown that some of the problems we are having with agriculture is not just with production. It also has to do with storage. We have farmers in very local, rural communities. How do you get to get their product so it doesn't go waste? How do we use AI to ensure that the tomatoes they produce don't go waste?
That's a really good question. So what I would say first of all is that general rule, you should be passionate about solving a problem as opposed to taking a technology and trying to have it as a hammer and seeing everything as a nail. So as far as storage, AI will play a part in it, but the most important aspect is low-cost refrigeration, right? So if we can produce, there are some ideas. I remember we were working with some research institutions and looking at ways to keep produce at a certain temperature for long and making this low cost. AI can help regulate temperature, can help adjust based on a number of factors, but usually, so another lesson is that AI also doesn't work alone. So you have to combine AI with Internet of Things, embedded systems, and a number of technologies. So those are ways that AI combined with other technologies can help. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Pierre, please, could you tell us how we can have a responsible AI? As Africa or Ghana stands now, we don't really have policies on AI. So how do we ensure that whatever AI that is produced is a responsible one?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we need to first understand what we mean by responsibility. And so if we are looking at responsibility within the context of what the person at the helm of affairs has to do within the remit of his or her power, then African, or for that matter, Ghana should be on the table. I think if you look at it for now, currently, Ghana does not even have an AI policy as it is. So if we're looking at responsibility, then there must be the bringing aboard the issue of regulation. And so we must first think around regulation. To what extent are we having the policy framework first, so that when we have a policy framework, then we can really get critical mind, critical scientists, like we are starting with the AI lab, KNUST leading this drive, coming on board. And then when that policy framework comes in, then there could be regulation. Other than that, there would be irresponsible AI. Because, I mean, let me just give a scenario, like during the COVID era, when in the UK, many of the students were not able to go to school, and then AI system was developed so that it could really be able to use to grade students. What was found out was that, unfortunately, the algorithms that were programmed led to a situation where young students who were from people of color, and when we say people of color, we are talking about largely the black community, deprived areas, who in their past records and their past examination, they had done better, but the algorithm had rather put them into lower grades. And so these are some of the challenges. It does not mean that we cannot do responsible AI, but if we have a regulatory framework, we have a governance architecture, then we are sure that we could be able to really articulate the benefits that AI comes with. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Akponyo, I would like to ask, what does RAIL bring on the table in regards to its contribution to development in the sub-region?
Thank you, Rita. And thanks for the question. Earlier speakers have talked about how we can use artificial intelligence in the area of health, as Henry talked about, in the area of agriculture, as Darlington talked about, in the area of energy, as Francis mentioned. And Chris, who just spoke, talks about the need for a regulatory framework within which AI must be applied. within the context of all this, we recognize that within the African sub-region, there is a significant lack as far as skills is concerned. There is actually a skills gap as far as experts in the AI space is concerned. All that we have talked about in relation to AI interventions in key sectors of the economy requires our training people for them to gain understanding as far as the use of AI is concerned. And so the Responsible AI Lab seeks to build capacity by mounting programs that when people subscribe to are trained with reference to understanding AI and its application to key sectors of the economy. And so that is one of the key things that we want to do. The other thing is that regarding AI solutions, some have existed in the past, but the uptake has not been good enough because the people who are supposed to be using these solutions do not have an understanding of what exactly the solutions are about. Rail seeks to do things differently. So the agricultural solution that Darlington talked about, we want to be able to bring it to the level of the farmer so that they can uptake these technologies and as a result of this, make impact where it matters the most. And so basically what rail brings to the the whole equation has to do with building capacity, but making impact by ensuring that the people who matter most understand the solutions as has been developed.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Nunu, could you please tell us some best practices of AI in the healthcare system?
Okay, so I think one key thing would have to be transparency, right? We need to be transparent in how these systems work if we want to help nurture confidence in people. The other aspect too would have to do with accountability, right? So once we ensure that there's accountability, it means that people can undo unintended harm, right? And we also have to do away with biases because Dr. Seth, okay, Dr. Pia, yes. He mentioned the issue where people of color had some concerns with their grading and all that. This can also affect how health is delivered, good healthcare is delivered. Right? So biases in data should also be looked at, yes. So these are just some key things that we need to look at when we want to design very good solutions in the healthcare space.
Okay, so talking about biases, data can be incomplete in any shape or form. Because when we're talking about machine learning, you are talking about the data that you are going to feed the machine. So I want to know, what happens if a biased data is fed to a machine?
If a biased data is fed to a machine, it's going to lead to disaster. Yes, because just as he said, you have a situation where people are going to be affected negatively, right? So the more reason why we need biased data, right? So that everyone is treated fairly. We are in a world of fairness because no one wants to be treated unfairly. Right, so for everyone to be integrated and treated in an appropriate way, we need to make sure that the data that is being used to train, right, is covers all grounds, right? It's fully represented, right? Everyone is fully represented. Yes. So, for instance, in the healthcare space, there are some conditions that white people, right, react or respond differently from how blacks or Africans would respond, right? So if the device or the model is trained based on data from the West and is dumped on us, it's going to be very difficult to make very accurate diagnosis, because out there it's going to make very good predictions or diagnosis, but once it's dumped on us, it might not be able to work because it wasn't designed with the black man or with the African in mind. Yeah, so these are some ways in which there's making sure that data is fully represented or everyone is represented in the data, right, would go a long way to help us actually see the full benefits or realize the full benefits of AI solutions. Yes.
Thank you. Professor Kamaso, we are back to you with energy issues. How can grid management be effectively supported with AI?
Okay. You are referring to the electricity grid, right?
Yes.
Well, like Mr. Akogo said earlier, if you look at what he presented, there are stuff that human beings can do, but then artificial intelligence can help you do it better and perhaps faster. We are growing in population. Every day our numbers increase. We want to industrialize, and so our demand for energy is rising. Now we need systems that are able to quickly predict what you need tomorrow, what you need next week, what you need a month from now. Now, AI systems can use historical data, they can use current data to try to predict what will happen in the next few months, in the next year, so that it helps us to be able to plan the grid better, so we are able to manage it better. It might also help with maintenance issues, for instance. For us in Ghana, we are familiar with Doomso. Sometimes it's not because there isn't enough power in the system for you to have access. It's because systems are down due to poor maintenance, for instance. Some of them, we forget to attend to them. But with AI, we can have a better system of monitoring our maintenance activities, being able to detect areas that require maintenance in their early stages so that we're able to attend to them. So this will help managers of the grid perform their jobs better compared to using human systems.
Thank you. Dr. Appiah. Yeah, so most of the people here are students, and most people hope that after school they will get employment. Now we are being told that AI is going to work smartly, effectively, and efficiently. Does it mean that it's going to replace the workforce? Are we going to be unemployed?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think the issue lie at the heart of the discussion should be about efficiency. At the heart of the discussion should be about the extent to which AI is going to complement human effort. What is even intelligence? If there is an artificial, it means there is an original. And so the artificial cannot be able to overcome the original. That is the idea. And so to that extent, we are looking at to what frame or to what extent that AI is coming to complement, create avenues, several avenues and several opportunities that are really not being tapped. And these are the areas where young people like myself, who are here, sisters and brothers and colleagues, can take advantage of through the rail. We're going to train people not only within the academic framework, other industry people, industry players, so that several young people can take opportunities in the digital space. And that really is going to bring about employment. Yes, we admit there are ethical issues, there are issues of biases, there are issues of the need to look at the responsibility and that framework, that architecture. I believe that going into the future, Africa is, as we said, the continent with the youngest population, with a mean population of around 19 years. And so this is a good prospect for us to tap into it so that we would not sit down and then we'll become like people who are only users of technology and we don't contribute to creating technology.
Thank you. I'll be having 2 more questions, after which I'll open the floor for the audience. So please prepare your questions. I want to get questions from you. Okay. Mr. Darlington, we talked about agriculture, and we know farmers are one of the main stakeholders when it comes to agriculture. How prepared are these stakeholders for AI technology?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I would say different stakeholders are different level of preparedness. So, for example, plant breeders are already used to having to adopt technology in their practice, and so we've had it much easier working with most of the plant breeding institutions in Ghana. We've gone all the way to northern region, Yankala, to work on various crops. That part is easier. If you are dealing with medium to large scale farmers, they also already see the clear picture of how technology helps them to increase their yield, and they can afford it. But with small scale farmers, which is where majority of our food comes from, the scenario is much more complex. But then one thing we realize is that, so for example, during the session, the whole point of saying that we use AI without realizing is that if AI or technology in general, if it's done well, you don't even realize it's there. It just works in the background. Facebook or all these platforms don't need to explain to you that we are using AI for this and this is how much complicated it is. No, you just use it and it feels normal. And so in the same way, one thing we realize is that, for example, there's already a network of extension officers across the whole country. It's difficult to work with them, but then once you get through that barrier, which it took us some time, but we're able to get access to farms across all 16 regions for a project we did last year. And so the farmers can be beneficiaries of AI technology without having to necessarily learn the complexities of it themselves. You have extension officers that visit all this farm, so they can deliver the solutions by telling farmers that I've identified this disease and this is the recommendation. Use this and you treat the disease. So yeah, those are ways that we can ensure that stakeholders benefit.
Okay, thank you. Professor Kamaso, so back to the energy issue, are you saying AI is a game changer for us?
Yes. It is a game changer. Take KNUST for instance. For 3 months in the year, we go on holidays. Load changes. How do you manage stuff like that? If you want to incorporate more renewables into the system, we should be able to predict and manage such behaviors. Knowing that perhaps September to December, KNUST is on holidays, Legon is on holidays, UCC is on holidays. It means student populations move away from campus into other parts of the country. So how are we able to plan for these movements? Then moving power away from these core areas where they've been used for the past 6-7 months, and then moving them to places where students are now going. How do we manage all of this? If we have systems that can do better forecasting, yes, it's a game changer for renewable energy, and I think we shouldn't be left behind. The West is taking over seriously, and for us in the sub-region, we must be prepared to join the train as well.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I'll open the floor for the audience. Please, if you have a question, just raise your hand and the mic will be brought to you. Thank you.
Please pardon me to do this intervention. Otherwise, our partners will not forgive me. So on the issue of policy, David Ofori is here. The Ministry of Communication and Digitalization is working on an AI policy. As we speak, there are 2 projects that are policy related, directly targeted at AI. The first one is the ethical framework for AI, which GIZ is supporting the government and United Nations Global Pulse to do. And then the second one is the Ghana National AI Strategy. And some of the panel discussants here have been interviewed. So I think I have to make that intervention. GIZ is also supporting the ministry to create a strategy for AI. There is also a number of allied policy projects going on. Smart Africa is also being supported by GIZ, and they are working with the government of Ghana also on a data governance framework. And so I thought I should make this intervention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Alex Segbafia. I'm very much interested in the responsible aspect of artificial intelligence, and I want Darlington to help address this issue. I've realized that hybrid seeds and genetically modified seeds are more efficient. However, there is an inbuilt dependency so that when you plant a hybrid seed, you cannot replant that seed. You have to buy another seed next season. That keeps us in a dependency situation. We have to rely on seed manufacturers every season in order to cultivate our food. Is that not actually keeping us in a slavery position when it comes to food from artificial intelligence? That actually helps us, but there's an inbuilt dependency in this help, so that once I help you, you have to keep coming back to me in order to produce your next season of crops. How do you respond to this?
Hey, that's a big question. So, disclaimer, I'm not a plant breeder, and so my take on this is from working with plant breeders as an AI expert, right? So, I know after the plant breeding process is finished, usually once you have the not perfect, or the ideal variety that you've now identified, seed producers usually maximize that by growing and generating more seed. I've seen this done in Yankpala, for example. So from my experience, I don't know if maybe that was characterized by specifically one experiment, but from what I've seen, usually you can generate more seeds from just a singular seed. If not, then you have to always keep going back. But that is not what I've noticed. But if there's any plant breeder in the building, they can step in and then comment on that.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think at the heart of your question is the ethics issue of seeing AI either as a subject or AI as an object. And so if we see AI as an object, then it brings the issue of whether the designer should disclose all relevant data to the general public. If you see AI as an object, whether there should be full disclosures as to the algorithms and whatever influence the design. But if you see it as an object, then you should see the design as probably human beings or elements with human agents. And so we are not so sure with the ethical question of whether they should disclose the inherent biases, as you said. Again, I'm not a plant breeder, so I cannot ascertain whether the accuracy of the information or otherwise. But the point is, as you submit it, as to whether the designers or the programmers should disclose full disclosure with the ethics issue, or they should hide that information. And if they are to disclose all the necessary information, to what extent will it then influence people to uptake that technology, knowing the ultimate impact of that technology as being beneficial? So this is, again, the issue of an ethics question, which through the training of REAL, we are going to do so that people will see the ethical dimensions revolving around this whole issue of AI. And I thank my senior that he said that there is something, a policy framework being designed now. That is good to hear. Thank you.
All right, please, I would like to ask a question on behalf of the senior high school students around. What is the take home for them? Because this is a huge terminology to them. Thank you.
Okay, so for our friends from the senior high schools, artificial intelligence, as my colleague Francis mentioned, is a game changer, but it doesn't operate in a vacuum. It is important that we consciously make time to study what AI is and its application. Darlington did mention that AI basically has to do with training machines to behave the way that human beings do. And you study a pattern, and as a result of that, use that to train a machine to behave likewise. The Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab, RAIL for short, has the senior high schools also in mind. For those at the higher levels, we are looking at short courses, we are looking at MScs, we are looking at MPhils, we are looking at PhDs. But for you at the senior high schools, we are looking at working with your organizers as far as your summer STEM camps are concerned, where we will come and then we will learn artificial intelligence with you. And then through your summer camps, work with you on AI-related projects. And Eunice, who just asked the question on your behalf, is fronting that together with Wisdom. And this particular year, in your Wisdom camp, we are going to be with you so that at your stage and at your level, you can understand what AI is, and then you grow with it as far as developing solutions are concerned. So tell your colleagues that AI is the way to go, and we are ready to learn with you as far as artificial intelligence is concerned.
We are going to take the last question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is a question and then also contributing. I come from a climate community, and I think we are the pioneers of AI. And, well, because we are able to understand our weather today, because we are able to use some intelligence based on data in order to tell you that, okay, in the next 3 or 4 hours, there's going to be rain, and etc. And the AI also has so much, we have to really do a lot of mathematics, and of course a lot of physics, because we need to do scientific coding in order to get the AI. So back to the question now, is your lab going to encourage a route, actually scientific coding, which is usually missing in our design? I want to see a lab that is really engineering some things of the sort. And so that's come to be the question. However, the first part, as I indicated, is showing that the source, some of the AI ideas started all the way from climate, and some of the work some of us we've done, we really had used AI in what we do. Because today I can tell you the concentration of ozone in the atmosphere because of AI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. And with the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab, what we actually want to do is to demystify the whole mystery that surrounds coding. You talk about coding and then people run away. We want to make sure that we have brought it to the level where it is easier and people code whilst having fun. So some of the programs that we are going to have, you even code without knowing that you are what? Coding. Exactly.
Yes. So, I mean, as part of the real program, that's actually some of the things that we are going to be working on. So, teaching you how to build practical AI system without writing code. Those are ways of doing it. But I want you to understand now that if you are in senior high school, again, as you've clearly seen, AI is already shaping our world. But the world you meet once you leave university is going to be primarily, maybe entirely AI-based world. It's going to consume every single sector. So you having the opportunity now to get started prepares you for that future. It prepares you for the present, how to tap into the various solutions, but it's also preparing you so that by the time you are completing your education and everything, you have the right skills. Because usually that's the issue. some of the skills that we have do not prepare us for the time that we are in. You are being prepared for that time. So through this program, you're actually going to learn practical skills that you can use today and then use once you finish your education. So I think this is a very important opportunity that I would advise all of you to take on immediately as possible.
Thank you very much. My name is Nero, third year computer engineering. So this is my question. As it were, we all know that AI is a tool that brings developments and makes things work faster. What plans do we have in place of using AI to improve our education? Thank you.
Okay, I will start and then my colleagues will come in. He's talking about AI for education. You realize that, for instance, let me bring it to your level. For you to be able to learn, we give you academic tutors. And academic tutors have gone the way that you are going before, and so they share their experience with you. What we are looking at as far as AI in education is concerned is to gather sufficient data with reference to patterns as far as interaction between academic tutors and their students are concerned. And then use that to train an AI so that on the basis of where you want to get to, the machine can actually guide you as far as your studies is concerned. So that is one intervention as far as AI in education is concerned.
Okay, so with the AI in education, right, I recently worked on a project with a lecturer at the Educational Innovations, right, where we were able to come up with a voice bot, right, for the students. So it was basically to engage the students outside the classrooms, because we realized that the understanding of their seniors, right, wasn't all that good. Right, so with the current crop of students, right, using the voice bots to constantly engage them, at the end of the day, we realized that, okay, the students were happy with the outcome, they understood the course better, right, and their love for the course heightened. Right, so these are some ways in which we can use AI in education. Right, so thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. With the education aspect, please, what about those in the villages that they don't have access to AI? I think there are brilliant students that are in the village. So how do they then have access to AI to improve their education in this sustainable development you are talking about? And also, I would like to know the challenges you face working as a team in promoting sustainable development in Ghana and beyond. Thank you.
Okay, so with respect to the reaching out to those in the villages, right? You see, AI would not necessarily take education to the villages, because I'm saying this because those in the villages might not have the tools for them to be able to directly benefit, right? So what we can do is that we have a couple of students working from our innovation center, working on a platform, an e-learning platform, right? Where it's a mobile portable platform. They take these to the villages with some basic setup. We can grant access to people to utilize these e-learning resources, right? But on that platform, you might have recommenders to recommend some books or some resources to you. And those recommenders will be what AI will be doing, right? But with respect to the platform, that one is simple software engineering, right? But AI can be used for recommending materials on such a platform.
Yeah, on the education bit, so projects like we are doing here are meant to create awareness, national awareness. There may be other projects going on in other other universities in the country. And then that leads to the policy that our rep from GIZ just mentioned. Once we do this, we create some awareness, and then it leads to government recognizing the importance of AI for whatever applications we need, including for education. And then they come up with the right policies that will promote this. I mean, government has oversight responsibility, the Ministry of Education, for the schools. So they will have to come up with policies that will then help us to, apply AI systems in education. So let's hope that the policy that is coming up, hopefully will have the chance to contribute to those policies, and then they will make the frameworks possible for us to promote AI for education in Ghana.
I think additionally, there is the encouragement that we incorporate AI as far as our curriculum is concerned, and bringing it to the level where, at the basic level, some basic understanding as far as AI is concerned. And as long as it is in the curriculum, we try to train teachers to help students be able to appreciate how AI can affect what it is that they do. Additionally, for those who are in the villages and the remote communities, we are looking at boot camps where actually within the breaks we can go and then spend time with them so that they can also appreciate what AI is all about. So one, incorporating it in the curriculum, building capacity as far as teachers are concerned, and visiting them by way of boot camps so that they also are not disadvantaged.
Maybe just an add. There are impact projects that we intend to scale up. One of the impact projects we are looking at is AI and agriculture. And so in AI and agric, if it comes to, for instance, my village in Amansia West, and the AI has really been put into place, certainly we're going to translate it so that the farmers there are going to use it. My mother, who is a farmer, is going to teach my junior brothers and sisters who will be going to farm, to Akoko farm. And that will be the practical application of AI use. And so the divide of urban-rural is not so sharp as we see it with the global technology as we talk about. And so many people are using smartphones right in the villages. And so once these technologies are uptaken, certainly with time, they will be able to get translated across Ghana.
Okay, so all too soon our time is almost coming to an end. I'll ask all the panelists to give us some closing remarks.
Thank you very much. The prospects of AI remain challenging, but very promising. And I think that as younger people, we need to take advantage of what AI comes with. Rail has come to stay, and I'm very optimistic that we're going to build on what rail has started. Young people should sell the message out there that AI has come to live with us and stay with us. So take part and find yourself within it so that you will not only be a user of the outcomes of AI, but you also be a contributor to the global AI discussion. Thank you.
I think that AI has a lot to offer us, and for me, from my energy space, I think the possibilities and the future is quite exciting. I mean, knowing that you can be able to ramp up a power plant somewhere to respond to a need, and you can do that quickly because you have support from AI is very exciting, and I look forward to an exciting future. I hope that this project will get to open our eyes. It will get to educate us on a lot of things, and then I look forward to the policy coming out so that, I mean, as a nation, we can embrace this for a better future. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we are at the right place at the right time, because when you look at the World Economic Forum outlook on jobs, right? The hot cake jobs, AI, more machine learning engineers, data science, all these ones are topping the charts, right? So if you are here, it means that it's a very good ground, a very good foundation for a very prosperous or lucrative future. Right? And also, when government is also talking about entrepreneurship and all that, this should be also the foundation, right? The kind of skills that through real you would acquire can put you in a certain position whereby you can even start things on your own and be in Ghana and try to work remotely for other companies outside Ghana and all that from the comfort of your bedrooms. Right, so it's a very good opportunity to be here at this time. Take advantage of real for the benefit of us all. Thank you.
Yes, we are in a pivotal moment in human history with the technology AI. We have the potential to solve all the huge problems that have plagued us for centuries, or to create even worse problems. We haven't looked at the dark side or very dangerous applications of AI, but trust me, they are there. And so I think we should all take charge to ensure that we responsibly build the right solutions so that we don't create that. And the last thing I would say is that MIT Media Lab is one of the institutions that I respect so much, but then they also started at some point, right? I believe Rio is in that pivotal moment too. This is a very important moment in the history of KNUST, in the history of Ghana. And if we all work together, we could create something like the Media Lab that would generate impactful solutions that we could export all across Africa and the world. So I look forward to that.
So, in conclusion, I think that the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab offers us a unique opportunity for us to work together. If you look at those of us gathered in this room, we come from various backgrounds. It's multidisciplinary. What primarily it means is that there is enough room for everybody. And REAL offers us a platform through which we can learn together and we can create solutions together. And so we want to extend an invitation to colleagues in academia, colleagues in government, colleagues in corporate organizations and in the private sector. Come, let us work together so that we can take our rightful place as far as the fourth industrial revolution is concerned. Thank you.
So the conversation doesn't end here. If you still have more questions, you can visit our Twitter handle, Facebook, and Instagram. Just pose your questions and you're going to get response. On this note, I would like to thank the panelists. Thank you so much for this insightful section. We also want to thank our Vice Chancellor for still sitting here listening to us, and all our dignitaries who are here, and the students and the audience, everybody who participated. We say thank you.
Well, a round of applause for our panelists and for our moderator, Dr. Mrs. Rita Udo. Thank you very much for moderating this very, very, very educative session. We're going to take the closing remark from the Vice Chancellor, that is Professor Dr. Mrs. Akosua Dixon. Oh, Professor Mrs. Akosua Dixon, I'm so sorry. The doctor was not supposed to be there. Forgive me, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Anita. How I wish that I could just be sitting there and then the artificial me will come and stand here. I guess the answer to the question as to the take home for the senior high school students, I guess something was left out, and I'll add it for them. I think what they wanted to hear probably was, how do they get the artificial day so that whilst they sleep, they can still get all A's in WASI? Is that not so? There is nothing like that. You just have to still sit up and study. And then you will come to the university, and we are expecting you, and we are very, very eager to welcome you so that you can join the real team, not just at the secondary schools, but also at the university. I will be so surprised at myself if I attempt to summarize what has gone on this afternoon. What an exciting afternoon we have had. And on that note, I just want to thank the leadership of RAIL and all of you for your presence here. Indeed, the use of that adjective, responsible, in front of the artificial intelligence is so key, is so important. Whatever we will do with artificial intelligence, and I'm glad our experts have spoken to it. Whatever we do, at the end of the day, we must be able to confidently say that we have gone through artificial intelligence to improve the quality of life of humanity. And for us, as the leading science and technology university in this country, and the best, as we have shared with you earlier, one of the cardinal things that keeps us awake at night is that as an institution, the problems of society are our problems. And it is mandatory for us to go through research and profess solutions to the problems of humanity. And as management, we are excited that we can work with collaborators to go through responsible AI and find solutions to the myriad of problems that we have as society. On that note, let me admonish all of us. You see, they've touched on a lot of things. The alumnus touched on local content. Which song did you want to hear AI responding to? Local content is important. We mustn't sit here and get it all imported, hook, line, and sinker, and put around our necks. We must be able to appreciate AI in our own local context. So that is very key, and I want to challenge the team that you make sure that some of these things are part of the objectives that you have outlined for yourselves and for us. Of course, once you put responsible there, it means accountability, and I think somebody alluded to that. It's important. May we have sustainable AI, and may we all be very good stewards of AI systems, so that at the end of the day, we can all be proud and say that we utilized that tool to the benefit of humanity. As for the downside and the dark side, I'm sure that will also take another workshop. And I pray that we really focus on the positivities and how we can enhance our lives going through AI. The issue of whether the AI is going to replace manpower and is going to increase the membership of the unemployed youth, I think that we should rather look at it from the positive angle, where the young people can capitalize on AI to create more jobs for themselves. I was hoping that my brother Darlington would even share, maybe another platform, you may have to share how you even got into this AI thing in the first place. We don't know your background, but sometimes it's good that the students get to know how or where you moved from and how you managed to get into this, so that, you know, sometimes it's like rocket science to them. And just let them appreciate. I heard my brother saying that he did mathematics, and now he is into this. These are the stories our students need to hear. And when they hear it from you who are on the ground and in the industry, it sinks better than when we teach them in the classroom. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, on this exciting afternoon encounter that we have had, I just want to say thank you to the team, and also to thank all of you for being here and making this a success. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Vice Chancellor, for such a successful program to go through such a phase. A lot must have gone into. And I know the team behind Rail are doing so much behind the scenes to make all of this possible. And even for this program to be so successful, a lot of hands must have gone into as well. I'd like to invite Professor Abdul Rahman Ahmed, Dean, FECE, to give us the note of appreciation. A round of applause for Professor.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice Chancellor, my Provost of College of Science, and all officials of KNUST, and all dignitaries invited and the panelists that we've had here. I think that's a very exciting time for us, and the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering finds itself in a very unique position at this time, because when you talk about all the disruptive technologies that are breaking all the grounds, technologies that emanate from disciplines in the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And the good news, Madam Vice Chancellor, is that if you wake up in the next 5 years and you hear that there's a new India emerging in Africa, and it is Ghana, it will be by the leadership of the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering. It is interesting because the interests and the vision are converging. The government is looking in this direction. Last week, we were at the Ghana Digital Center. We met all these fine gentlemen there and their boss. We were at the Kofi Annan Center also. And the interests are converging, and it's becoming very exciting that we are going to join forces and do something probably greater than has ever been done in this country as far as the development of skills in technology and bridging the gap and creating employment for our teeming youth is concerned. And that is something that we are very excited about. So your ranking as the best university in Africa is probably about to get a lot better. It's going to shoot into the sky, so we should look for that. Obviously, the partners that have made this possible are the funding agencies, and we are very grateful to GIZ, we are very grateful to IDRC, SIDA, and all those other partners from Cape Verde, Senegal, France, that we're working with to make this a reality. The Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering hopes that this is just the beginning, and that by the cooperation of all these great partners, would achieve a lot more. So we are very grateful to you, and grateful to our Madam Vice Chancellor, our Provost, and all the officials of KNUST who have spent quite copious amount of time here to get this through, and also all our students who are here. We are grateful to you, and we thank you for making this a success. Thank you, and God bless you. and of course, the team behind RAIL and all this organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Abdulrahman Ahmed. I don't know if Professor K.O. Boateng is still here. Oh, the chaplain is here. Oh, Father is here now. Oh. Please, Reverend Father now is here, so let's give him a round of applause to give us the closing prayer.
Shall we please rise for prayers? Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. Dear Lord and Master, we are so much grateful to you for the gift of our lives. We thank you for this day, the moment you have done for us as a university, as a nation, and for this partnership and collaboration in which we are all discussing about how best we can use AI responsibly to better our lot in life. You have used this university to achieve a lot for us as a nation, the entire world. And you continue to use us, and because of that, we are so much grateful to you. We thank you for the leadership and management, for how far you have brought us. We thank you for the theme and leadership of RAIL. And we thank you for the partners and sponsors and all those who are buying into it. And we thank you even for making that part of it today. It is our prayer that you continue to shower your blessings upon it, that you will guide the process, and that it will continue to better our lot. Even as we depart from here to our various offices, places, we pray you that you grant us journey mercies, and let the thought, knowing about RAIL, continue to ring bell in our hearts and our minds, so that we all can buy into it, collaborate, and make it a success for us all. These are many blessings we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Father Dr. Antonina. All right, so we are going to take some photographs. But before we do, Vice Chancellor, thank you so much for honoring the invitation and gracing us with your presence. We'd like to thank the Provost for the College of Engineering. Thank you so much. To all deans and HODs who are here, thank you very much. Invited guests, we really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much to all the students who joined us from St. Louis, from KNUST-TEK, and Jobbing Senior High. We're going to take photographs, and we're going to go in this order. First of all, we'll have the VC, the Provost, and we'll also have our partners who are here to take the first photograph. Can we have the VC, the Provost? Yes, and our partners. We'll take the first. But can we have our partners from Cape Verde? Our partners from GIZ? I know most of our partners have joined us on Zoom, but those who are available here, we can take the picture now.